So I come from a mixed family. So I come from a white and a black family, and so our upbringing was sort of normal, I guess, as far as our different friendship groups and stuff. I'm a twin as well. I'm one of three. Most of the time we used to hang out with the same people. So being a mixed kid, there's obviously pros and cons with that, and we found it not difficult, but difficult to figure out who we belong to and stuff like that. PK kids, so pastor's kid. So we were always around church. There was never a time where we weren't, and if we did miss church, it was due to sport. Sport is very big in our family, so I play professional basketball, also footy as well, and every one of us were always going to training or something like that. So faith was a little bit, it was always there, but for me personally, I did walk away from it at a certain age, and only recently I've kind of come back to it. My family definitely inspired me to pursue my goals and whatever I wanted to do. And it's funny because it wasn't just my parents. I actually sort of followed other professional figures that weren't actually in basketball. They were actually tennis players, funny enough. One was Serena Williams and one was Roger Federer. But they both had, I guess, characteristics that I thought I could carry through to my sport. One being Serena Williams being an African-American woman, having to navigate all the criticism that she copped throughout her career, and not only that, feeling accepted in the sport. And then you look at Roger Federer, who was liked by everyone and had to navigate that also, but also giving back to the sport. And so I kind of fed off them to kind of keep going with basketball. But not only that, Mum and Dad definitely inspired me to keep going no matter how rough it got or how tough it got. For me, from the age of 13 through to about, I'd say 21, I didn't want a bar of God. Like, I just thought it was a waste of time. Didn't understand the Bible. I thought it was all a hoax, all of that. And I just wanted to focus on making it. And for me, making it was going to college, going to play in the WNBA, WNBL, all of that, or making the Australia team. I ended up making the state team, the Australian team, and then I started playing professionally at 16. Now, for me, amazing. Like, for a kid of that age to be able to do that, amazing. When things started being stripped away from me, as far as like having injuries and stuff like that, the first person I turned to was obviously God. Why am I going through this? This shouldn't be what I'm going through, I say that I walked away, but he was the first person I asked. And that sort of stuck with me throughout my career. Why did I go back to him? Why didn't I ask my parents why? Now that I'm, 28, 29 soon, I now understand why I was asking him. I wanted to know who he was, but again, the whys. Why? As I got older, the whys made sense to where I am today. I think the most difficult time for me was going through the bone tumour in my leg. So I was told I would never play basketball again, and I had to get a plate put through my leg. List goes on. Again, the why came up, but at the same time, it didn't stop me. The way that I found out about my leg was actually, didn't do it in a game. I kept getting pains in my leg at night. It was severe. And I couldn't work it out. I thought, just must have trained really hard and I'm just sore. It ended up getting far worse to the point where it was keeping me up at night. I was having Panadol, Aspirin, Clear, everything that you could think of to try to calm down the pain every single night. I thought, this is ridiculous. Am I going to still go through this older? I don't know. There's something definitely wrong. I ended up going to New Caledonia with the Australian team. I ended up getting a massive bruise on the outside of my leg, and I thought, no, there's something wrong. So I sat out, I think it was 2 or 3 games. We ended up winning gold, came home, and I said to my parents, there's something wrong with my leg, I don't know what's wrong with it. Then I had a tournament that I played in, It was the Australia Day tournament, and the same thing happened all weekend. It felt like my leg was just tearing. Of course, being an athlete, you don't let that sort of stuff stop you, so I kept playing. Then as soon as I finished that tournament, I left for the AIS, and AIS, Australian Institute of Sport, so I was there on scholarship. Within a week I had to come home. I ended up having multiple scans, and when you go there you have medical screenings and all of that you have to do, and I thought, okay, it's a routine thing, cool, let's do it. I had no idea. So I had about 7 or 8 scans of different things. I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Do all the athletes go through this? Like, I don't understand. And then unbeknown to me, my mum is at the dorm, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And then Mum said, do you know how serious this is? And I said, what do you mean serious? Like, what are you talking about? This is a routine checkup. Like, she said, no, T, like, they've found something in your leg. We don't know if it's cancerous or not. And I said, what? And it didn't hit me. Like, I was literally just straight-faced. I'm like, oh, all right, well, we'll find it out, try to keep a positive attitude. And then, yeah, they ended up finding it, and I wouldn't forget, I just sat it was all a blur, I just sat in the doctor's office, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I couldn't understand how severe it was, and then I was processing it, and even when I got on the plane, I'm like, I really don't understand. I didn't even have any emotions. Like, I reckon my other injuries hit me harder than that. I thought, oh, it's just a bump in the road, I'll get back, I just knew it wasn't going to stop me, and I just don't know why I didn't feel anything at that time. Even through the rehab, I didn't really cry, I didn't really get frustrated. I was just adamant to get it done. That peace, during that tough time, God was definitely there, because I reckon I probably would have flipped out in some way. And like I said, my other injuries hit me harder, because it's like I worked so hard to get back, and now this has happened. But in this scenario, he was there. Yeah, my parents definitely always instilled faith. Whether it was good, bad, ugly, there was always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I wouldn't forget my mum actually saying that. She said, you might not be able to run right now, but you will. And I think during that period of not being able to play, I definitely know I wasn't lost. But in that time, I was actually able to discover other things, because basketball was such a huge part of my life at a very early age. So in that time, I could pick up my trumpet again. I learnt that in year 7. And it gave me time to see if I actually loved it or not. I'm still playing it now, professionally. I think even though it sucked that I couldn't pursue my scholarship, it was sort of a blessing in disguise, because I was able to do other things, and it's definitely made me stronger. And so I defied the odds, and to this day I'm still playing, and it's insane. Obviously there was a process of learning to walk again, learning to run again, just learning how to catch and run, just little things that I took for granted, but it's definitely given me, I guess, new life in some sense, because nothing is able to stop me, nothing. And that is definitely God. And only just recently I've actually come back to faith. I always questioned everything, whether it was Bible, whether it was why my mum was praying for us, or why she put Bible verses up on the mirror or sent us Bible verses. I didn't understand why she was doing that. And at the time, it was timely. Thinking back now, it was timely for that season. Connecting the dots with trying to figure out who he is and having that encounter with him. I think it was when, and only just recently, becoming a stepmom, just being able to see the joy in this little girl and giving myself joy and just life. Sorry. Yeah, seeing joy in her. I know that she's meant to be here. Yeah, it's changed my outlook on life, changed my priorities, I guess. Sport's not everything, and she's been a big part of, I guess, my comeback, because she's been there since I was 22. So God is definitely in that little girl. I guess it took me a while to, accept that God loved me in some sort of way, but watching, or at least loving the little girl, I can see that he wants the same thing. Yeah, I'd say my relationship with God is definitely stronger. It's still a work in progress, and I think it is with everyone, especially people of my age and younger. I'd say to 16-year-old T, if you need someone, pray. He's there and he's listening. Whether you want to listen or not is your choice. And if you feel like you need guidance, that's what your parents are there for. But if you don't have that, tap into it to him, because he'll steer you in the right way. I guess through all of the challenges that I was faced at a very early age, steered me into a leadership kind of way, and not that I actually wanted to be one. I was the most introverted kid, but now I'm leading in a way that I can't believe that I'm doing. And I'm in the worship team. I ended up leading one week. Heck, I lead kids to help them understand their feelings, and even through basketball, help them one-on-one on court, but not only that, off court too. And then with my trumpet playing in an outreach ministry as well, that I adore. That's like my outlet from everything. Just all of these things that I guess that I discovered, and I feel like I've been put on this earth to do that.